All right, guys. Today I'm excited to show you this car, and the reason I am because this was 2016 Best Car of the Year, and that is your one and only Honda Civic. Over here, as we can see, this is the nice cosmic blue, midnight blue color of the Honda Civic, and this is the new face of the Honda Civic. This is the 10th gen Honda Civic, and I feel like this has one of the most sleek designs that Civic has ever released in the market, with their nice curves, with their beautiful hatchback, look-alike or rather fastback design. As I'll close these doors, we shall see that design come to life. So this door's open fairly wide, and I really like the angle of it. It's very low, it's sleek, and as we look back here, it's got a little spoiler. So let's go a little back. Let's see the car, and we can see the slope. We can see the slope coming down here. It looks like a fastback. It looks beautiful. Very sleek, very nice design. I must say they've really improved with the previous generation, which looked really, really bad. Now, if you look back here, this is the RS Turbo variant. It has this auto lock, open. Let's put this in the bloopers. That's something new I didn't know. That's something we'll feature. So apparently, if the doors are open, we'll cut that out. But apparently, if the doors are open and we want to slam the trunk, it's not going to open. And you know why? That's because someone left the keys inside. It's like saying, hey, you know what? The keys are inside. We're not going to close it. So you got to be very careful about that. And now, look at that. Look at that. It closed very well. So moving on, this Honda Civic is the turbo variant. Now, there are two variants for this. This is the RS Turbo, and many people get confused and they say, oh, what's RS? RS is basically road sailing, not racing sports. Some people think that it's racing sports when in reality it means road sailing, and that just means that the ride is just very soft, very smooth, very delicate on the road, and can be sporty if you wanted to. So there are two variants as mentioned. There's the 1.8 CVT variant, and there is the 1.5 liter turbo engine, which is this one that we have, which is the top of the line engine. It's beautiful. Let's take a look at the insides now. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at the front door, the inside interior, or the speedometer, the infotainment gauges. As I enter, I notice that my knees go down very deeply, so I need to get in a little bit. It's a low car. It's not really optimal for people who have a hard time getting into low cars or who are a little bit older. Now, the thing about this is I really, really like this infotainment system and this speedometer because it's very digital. It gives you this very modern effect on this car, and it just feels like a game I'm playing while these little mods go around, while the doors open, and we can see all the digital displays on the fuel gauge, on the cold and hot, and we can change the displays here in the center. We can look at the average fuel. We can look at the Bluetooth, what music we're playing accordingly. We can change it around for, let's say, turbo gauge. You can even have a turbo gauge over here, which is pretty cool. I'm pretty fascinated while it's playing around. You don't have to have an external turbo gauge. You have your navigation, you have your settings, you have your music as mentioned, your cell phone, and of course, if you want nothing to be displayed, there's that. And also your information, saying if your tire pressure is low, or if your car needs maintenance, or if your fuel gauge is low, it shows all those informations. And over here, we have the new classic Android Auto Apple CarPlay system that is here present in this Honda Civic. So we just basically need to go to home. We can change our settings. We go to audio, phone, navigation, information. It's fairly simple, straight to the point. However, the thing I don't like about this, and it's a lot of comments that go on, is there's no volume button. I mean, there should be a volume button on this infotainment system where I can just turn a knob, but the knob that is here used to turn is basically the air condition knob over here, which I feel like is a bit hard to use if you want to adjust the volume for that matter. The air condition system is good. I like how there's a dual climate control. I can adjust my side and also the other side. But the thing about volume is that I need to press this little button over here, and it's kind of hard while you're driving. You do not know what you're pressing. It's hard for you to gauge. Unlike over here on the steering wheel itself, we have a bunch of options. We have also the cruise control. And the nice thing about the volume button over here is it kind of slides up and down. You don't have to press the button itself. Although if you do press it, it is there. There is that option, but I feel like it's a little cheap and plasticky. That's something that could be improved about that car. And also with regard to the climate control, I don't like how the climate control has a climate button and then you have to adjust the temperature of the aircon accordingly. I think it's best if we were to have our own button over here just to say higher or lower. I feel like that's an easier touch because there's a bit of a lag. I click this. Okay, it takes some time. Maybe it would be best if it was just one full out thing. Aside from that, For some people who are driving at night and the headlights are on, there will be a little light up here that will be seen. As you can see, it turned red all of a sudden, and that gives a bit of an ambient light over here to the whole gear shifting levers, which has a nice sporty feel at night as you're driving. This car basically has your sport mode, it has your paddle shifters as well, it has your eco mode, and your brake hold, which is very much possible because of your auto park. And with that, let us take a look at the rear. All right, taking a look at the rear now of the Honda Civic, and the seat's been adjusted to my seating arrangement. I'm a 6-foot guy, so the driving situation is for a 6-foot guy. I'm gonna go back here, and I'm gonna notice, right, it's pretty spacious. It may not be as spacious because of the person sitting in front. The thing I notice about this car is that the back is a bit sunk. Hence, the legs kind of go upwards instead of being flat. You're sitting upright, so it feels low. And I've had a lot of instances where people have told me that it's uncomfortable for the elderly because it might give them a little back issue. But for us young guys, you know, it's okay. It does the job. It does very well. I have a lot of space, and also it has a little guard over here. So let me move a bit to this side and go to this area where a not so tall person's sitting. And it's still similar. I have the same leg room, but my headroom is very good. It's excellent. And if I were to put this down, I feel like it's extremely comfortable to just lean back, relax, and just enjoy someone driving you as well. However, the thing is, I think it will be very uncomfortable for someone to sit in the center of this car, and that's because of this little box over here that is causing a distress for the footing arrangement. I feel like if someone would sit here, it might be a bit cramped up, especially if they're big people. But if kids, oh, absolutely, it'll be fine. So let's move on to the engine. So right now we're going to be taking a look at the engine of this Honda Civic 2016. The best car of 2016. Okay, so this, to be straight up, is the Earth Dreams Technology VTEC Turbo engine. Earth Dreams is basically the new VTEC engine that has been developed by Honda, and this is the specific turbo variant that is here. Now, the reason why a lot of people feel like the 1.8 CVT transmission is more reliable is because the turbo of any car puts a lot of strain on an engine. So in the long term, it's always better to have the 1.8 CVT. But on the short term, you know, you want to enjoy this car for 5 to 7 years, I would say it's a very good option, considering Honda is really reliable with their engines as long as you do your maintenance in casa or whatever. You use the best synthetic oil that you can find aftermarket. It's really up to you and how you maintain your cars, because there are a lot of people who like to do different ways of maintenance. But personally, you must change your oil every 5,000 kilometers to be set, to be safe, to know that your car is running perfectly. So let's take a look a bit at the engine. You can see over here it says Earth Dreams Technology VTEC Turbo. It's fairly quiet. The only thing I hear is mostly the fans and the belts. And also there's a slight ticking and vibration over here. But that's fairly simple. That's straight to the point. That's how these engines are designed. And they're very, very, very economical, I must say. Of course, it depends on driving. On average, when I went to long drive to Tagaytay, I got an average of 12.9 kilometers per liter. And if I'm stuck on traffic, it literally gives me 6.3. But if I'm just combining highway and road and no traffic, middle traffic, little traffic, and all that stuff, it gives me an average of 8.5 to 9.5 kilometers per liter. Personally, we use the 95 octane for this car from Shell. You can use any other 95 octane or even 91 octane, but you know, for the car to get its best performance, considering it's a turbo engine, you want it to have the cleanest fuel as possible. And now, to take a look at the back. And this is what really caught my eye. When I first saw this car, I was driving behind it, and I was like, whoa, what car was that? This is the car. This is the Civic. This is when it came out. I was just really surprised on how these lights look so aggressive, and as they come over here, it looks like a C in some way, a C from opposite angles. They look really aggressive. You know, the thing I always dreamt of when I saw this car is, what if they were able to incorporate the lights and make it into a light bar, which I thought would look really, really cool. So imagine this over here. Let's take a look at the whole situation here. We have this light that goes until here, right? And we have the same that goes over there. But what if this light could connect all the way there, making it look like a light bar? In my opinion, that won't look too much. I think that would look really classy and very sporty. It'll give that aggressive look. And I'm sure there's some modifications aftermarkets that can do that. But all in all, I think this car is very sleek. It's a good young man's car. It's fast, and now let's take it for a drive. All right, driving the Honda Civic 1.5 Turbo 2016. And the first thing I notice about this car is how smooth it is. I must say that it's very nice. Usually low cars, I mean, this is not that low, not like a sports car, but low cars are usually rough on tiny potholes, which is what we have here in the Philippines for the most part. And as we go through the roads, it seems really smooth, very comfortable as I put the gas. And as I press the gas, I can feel a little pull, a quick pull, and that's the turbo already engaging with the vehicle, which I find really cool. Of course, if I put it to Econ mode, it kind of dumps that down. The revs are a little less, but as I turn off Eco mode, then the revs are better. And then when I put it on sports mode, that's when the whole game changes. That's when you really feel the pull. So we're going to take a look. We're going to experience that right now as we drive this car. Alrighty, now we are going to floor this car. And as we know, this car is very smooth. But now let's see where the turbo kicks in and how the turbo works out. So I'm going to put it on sports mode, and I'm going to use my paddle shifters. I'm going to shift up and down accordingly. So we're going to take off right now. Whoa, okay. This car has power. It really pulls you forward. If you need to go fast, it can help it. Overtaking this, no issues whatsoever. Wow! It's really responsive, I must say. I enjoy this. For a 1.5 liter, you wouldn't expect this kind of power. And I really like this car. It really, really drives well. It's smooth. It's responsive. The steering wheel is pretty responsive. I mean, for its price range, I must say. And I really, really like how as I'm going through a hump, also, the shocks just absorb slowly. It's perfect. The drive is just accurate, I must say. For this price range, I think that this value for money, you do get a lot of features, especially the tech, especially the drive experience, the suspension, the comfort, the space. It's a good overall vehicle, and I would definitely recommend it for people who are looking to buy a fast, fun car that is kind of practical in the way. So thanks for watching, guys. We really appreciate it. Kindly subscribe and like this channel. It does take some effort to make these videos, and your subscribe and like goes a long way to us. Also, do follow us on Instagram, Independent Autos. We do sell cars as well, and this car as well is for sale. Kindly check it out over there. Take care, guys. Cheers. Okay, so now coming from a reviewer, they have different features, different opinions about how cars work, because to a certain extent they have knowledge on how vehicles work, engines, mechanisms, and all that. But also to give a feature, give a understanding for everyday person. We're going to let a civilian drive this car, and let's see what he says, what he has to say about this vehicle.
All right, so as we let this truck pass by, the brakes work fairly well. It's safe. The humps, very humpy, but not for this car. No. The gas works well, very firm. I feel very safe in this car, considering the fact that I don't have my seatbelt on, and that's a great feature. I'd like to buy a car with a seatbelt on, because if you're not wearing your seatbelt, it's gonna make that noise. Which is, very, very alarming in a good way. Because, sometimes I forget to wear a seatbelt in this country. And overall, it's very sleek, very sporty, very aggressive, but very family friendly for a family guy like me.
Okay.
Yeah.